Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, the journey, the spiritual journey, waking up, awakening, this journey we're on. Why is being here sometimes so hard? Our inspiration, I'm sharing some Robin favorites, and we'll have a beautiful letter from a friend who's wondering about friendship and how it works on a spiritual journey. I hope you grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, beautiful soul. It's me, Robin. Welcome back to the podcast, Tea with Robin. This is episode 124. 124. If it's your first time here, hi. Nice to meet ya. Stick around for some amazing love, support, and down-to-earth advice from a friend who gets it. Friends returning, what do you say? Is that the true or what? I love this ride, and I love us so much. I love knowing that somewhere out there, remember that song? Somewhere out there. Yeah. We're doing our work, and it's powerful, and that's why we need to stay together. According to me, because I'm very bossy too, but that's why we need to stay together, even if we're not talking every day or ever, even if we never meet in the physical, in the flesh, as they say. We know we're connected in this love posse. So, yeah. So, friends, how have you been? How's your week been? How has the weather in your heart been? It's always my prayer that you are gentle and soft and loving with yourself, having your own back, making sure that you give to yourself the same things and more that you would give to the most important person in your life other than you. Yeah. Over here, the weather in my heart is good. Uh-oh. Hold on. I just slurped and did not cheers you, so let's just pretend that didn't happen. I just had a birthday, 52, and wow, it was a big week. Do you have this where your birthday comes and there's always like more than just your birthday that you have to deal with on that day or around that day? There's stuff, there's memories, there's emotion, there's, I guess it's also a way of saying, noticing things that still haven't changed within you from that last year to this year. That's one thing I'm in touch with. It comes to me much quicker than, wow, what a transformation you made this year. That's still usually my afterthought, not the first thought. And that's okay, right? I would rather be somebody who's remembering these things than never experiencing any level of emotion about being on the journey. Yeah. So, beautiful day here. It's Saturday. We've had a ton of snow and the sun is shining. So, it's like I'm living inside the snow globe. It's just gorgeous. And that does lift my mood. I'm really practicing loving winter these days, and it has changed a lot for me. I talked about this last time, making a decision that I'm excited about this season that a lot of us complain about and get very worked up about, Yeah, it's really changed things for me. So maybe we'll talk about that a bit more too. But first, did you bring a cup of yum yum? I have a cup of instant coffee, my Italian dehydrated coffee. I have to say that because it's not Sanka. a little sea salt, and some heavy whipping cream. And I say cheers to new choices, new decisions about how we're going to relate to ourselves on this journey. Yes, cheers. That is so good. Like a coffee nip. So I wrote a letter to the Love Posse this week. I write a letter every Wednesday morning. It comes out. If you're not on my list, you can always come to robinhallett.com/subscribe. It's probably here in the show notes. You're welcome to receive these letters. This week I was talking about how we do the journey. I'm going to pull this up just so I have my little reference guide here. It's really been on my mind that we have this habit of, and I think it is a habit, of pressing on toward the thing we think is supposed to matter, supposed to be important. Instead of allowing the needs that we actually have in the moment to be taken care of. So, in the letter I wrote, the warmth, the kindness, allowing the feelings or the joy, the happiness, the rest, allowing these things so that we feel all right. So that we feel all right and also healed, and also having the capacity to expand or rise. I don't know what your words would be around that, but like to step into the person you keep saying you're supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we all have a super perfect vision of ourselves that we'll never quite get to. And thank God, am I right? But there are little there are facets of that story I believe in my heart I really would like to achieve. Things that feel impossible right now, but I see myself doing it. Some days I feel sad that I'm not doing it yet. All these things. I'm not giving any examples, but think of your own. And the reason I say that is the minute I say it out loud, sometimes you change the energy. So I have my perfect vision of myself, and within that are actual true little nuggets that I feel are achievable. But how are we going to get there? You have to rest. You have to allow, you have to nourish, you have to receive, you have to let, you have to, all that stuff. You have to let people help you, you have to let things go, you have to let yourself slow down, you have to let yourself look at what you're doing in a deeper way. Does that make sense? It's really interesting. Like last year sometime, I really began to notice in the emails I get from people, I don't know why I have such a great memory. I just do. Like somebody could email me one time and tell me things about their life, and I won't hear again maybe for a year or sometimes way longer. And I'll still remember. I'll remember the vibe. I'll remember an aspect of the story. It's just how I am. And the thing I most remember is those decisions to ignore oneself and one's journey. So when I hear back in 5 or 6 years and nothing has changed, or it's become, the situations have become worse in some way, I just know, on us. And I used to feel so afraid to talk about this because I never wanted people to feel like I was saying, you know that phrase, victim shaming, where you're something happened to somebody and they're also being blamed for it happening to them. There's such a weird line, but we're not victims of the world we see. We're not, in this way that I'm talking about, we're not victims of the world we see. We have the ability, that's a Course in Miracles from the text, by the way, but we have the ability to see things differently, to make different choices. And I'm realizing that if I talk to you about this and we keep learning together, we're going to get closer to those slivers of the things you actually want within that ridiculous vision of what you expect yourself to be in this lifetime. Yeah. So I realized that if I work through a deeper part of my fear, then I'll have the stability to talk about something I'm actually really passionate about. And just because I finally said yes to seeing the truth in that for me, in a way, it's like the things I need to feel supported to talk to you about it, I have them now. So, yeah, I see people where nothing's changed, it's gotten worse. But what really matters is this point I was making about how you and I think there's something more important to be doing in any given moment other than self-care or allowing ourselves our needs or allowing ourselves to dig deeper about the story we keep telling. You know, any of that, like whatever is coming, do you have the capacity and the willingness to take a deeper look at why you're telling that story again? I mean, if I could tell you, please, I hope you don't get mad at me. I can't control that, can I? It's not my problem, is it? Oh, God. I'm getting nervous in advance of the topic I'm about to pick to talk to you about. That's what's happening here right now. But here's the thing. I got to go with it because it's one so many people write to me about, talk to me about, message me about. When I haven't heard from them from a while, this will be the reason why. OMG. Okay, ready? Because did you guess? Social media, right? Social media and the havoc that it wreaks in our personal lives, hearts, minds, and probably one of the most shameful secrets people carry because nobody wants anybody to know it's hard for them because the whole freaking thing is so perfect. Social media, the problem with it, you know? Okay. Sorry. Is this stand-up comedy or is this a healing podcast? You decide. You know, the story of social media. I have to take a break from social media. I'm back on social media. I have to take a break from social media. I'm back on social media. I don't use social media. I'm not big on social media. I know, everybody's on social media. I mean, the story called social media is something I hear about at least, I'm not putting a number on it. It's a lot every week. You know, what if we dug deeper? Just with that story, there's a need. Obviously, I have a problem. Whoever this is that keeps hopping on and off, or just has an issue with being on, dig a little deeper, what's going on there? What's behind that thing? You're not bad or wrong. You just have like a need right here. You've got a problem. It's not a big deal. I mean, so what? So if you can feel like so what, you'll look at your problem that is asking to be taken care of. Okay, get ready for a Robin segue. Digression here. Last night we made frozen pizza. It was Friday night martini night over here, and we didn't have martinis actually, but we had pizza and a little Italian wine. We were able to find the exact bottles that we had in Assisi in here. It's kind of cool, kind of special. Anyway, I had to go tweak the oven so many times because our oven is very, very old, and it has our oven's maybe 10 years old, but the digital thermometer thing it doesn't work. So the oven will say it's at 450 when it's actually at like 312. So we have an internal thermometer, like a digital thermometer too. I had to get up so many times to tweak that thing. Jeff said, "Thanks for getting up so many times." But I just thought it's a need. If I want delicious pizza, I have to do it. So I don't mind. And it's Fitza Pizza, if anyone's curious, from Whole Foods. And that's a local brand, a locally made pizza. It is so good, but it's what we would call Chicago-style deep dish. And so it takes a very long time, like an hour. Is that very long? I don't know. When you're hungry, it is. So Jeff said, "Oh, thanks for getting up so many times." I just thought if you want good pizza, that's what you're going to do. So this is the same thing. It's like if you want a good experience, you're going to listen to this need. I was talking about social media because it just seems like such a big. I could probably sit down and find 100 different reasons people have given me about their social media stories related to being on social media. And I'm not judging that. I got my own struggles with social media. So, but it's a great place to look because we relate to it like we relate to the world, like we relate to ourselves in the world. So it's a great place to dive deeper. But instead of diving deeper, a lot of people just develop the story more fully. So they don't step out of the story, step to the side. Like I sometimes say, get out of the river for a while and just observe what's going on. A lot of us don't do that. What we do is develop the reasons why not. Why it's a waste of time, why it's a time suck, why it's this or that, why it's scary or dangerous to be on social media. We just develop these things. So instead, take a look. I wonder why I'm struggling. I do this all the time. What's going on? Here's a new thought. I'm afraid of being seen. I'm afraid people will be critical. I'm afraid my worst fears will be true. I'm afraid of the troll who sits under the bridge. It's funny, this week I did not see anything on TikTok. I just learned about TikTok this like 4 months ago from my friend. So, if I call it TikTok, forgive me. This story about the vegan teacher, I only saw that Russell Brand did a video about her, and one of the trolley comments was that she was so old. And I thought, oh my God, for sure, she's younger than me. And I thought, oh, I could care less if people want to call me old or ugly or fat or I don't know. I could care less. This is just where I'm at right now in this moment today on what is the date? February 6th. Saturday, 10:31 a.m. I reserve the right to change my mind. I don't care because I want to be here and I want to share. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth, and I know how I serve in truth. That's from the beautiful Paul Selig, by the way. So I'm going to do it. And because I'm going to do it, things are going to come up that I need to blow through, to keep going, to keep shining, to keep sharing. Please think about yourself as you're listening to me now. I'm going to keep going in my bravery, in my courage, and things will come up that I need to clear. So I hope this is making sense today. Like, that is the goal, is to move through these things that are hard for you instead of deepening in your story. How many people want to write a book, write a musical, have a photography collection, have a gallery visiting. What do they call those things? A gallery show. Take the stage. Be the diva, Instead of having the courage to make that real, a lot of people will choose, because they're afraid, to nurture their story and build it. What was that video game where you could outfit your whole home? The Sims? Yeah, they make the virtual reality reality, and that's what we're doing. So we have a responsibility to our own hearts to be kind and loving and curious about these things that bother us, instead of digging into the story more. Oh, and I should have said, when we invest in the story so much, that's why we end up seeing our confirmation, because we have given that all the power it holds for us. Internet trolls. We have given that power, and we've filled out the story. And of course we're going to manifest that kind of, air quotes here, abundance. Remember last week we talked about abundance, and one of the things that I think I could have done a little better on, but it was pretty awesome. Am I right? We manifest what we focus on, in that it changes our vision and we begin to see it that way. So it's really important what I'm saying here today. We have a deep responsibility to our own hearts to be kind and loving toward ourselves. A lot of people say that. Everywhere you go, you hear it. But I mean it. Getting through, becoming that person who can stand in the gallery at her first show and handle it, to be the person who's writing that book and showing up, handling it. Instead of procrastinating and making excuses and fears and, we have to be kind and gentle and soft We have to remember this is what's going on for us. How Rumi says, don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Does that sound like a spirit mama? Don't go back to sleep. Think about your problem right now. Think about when I said it's so hard, the journey is so hard. Think about it. For you personally, like pause me right now and think about that. Okay. I mean, if you really sit with that, what is the next move? If you're not hardening off, if you're not deepening, expanding your story, the 3D reality in your mind about what's going on that probably couldn't be more wrong, or you work on the story, you work on the energy. I'll stick with my analogy, stepping out in the world, shining and being seen as somebody who shines, being recognized in your talent, in your ability, having people thank you, express their gratitude to you. These are things a lot of us don't know, are very hard to handle, very hard to stand in that light and receive. When I say hard to handle, I mean like it scares us. What was the first time you were shamed? What is the first time you can remember being shamed for shining? And you'll have some answers to that one. So, why is the journey so hard? It's hard because we make it hard. It's hard because we see it hard. It's hard because we invest in it being hard. And I say we because remember, this is me. Me who spent a lot of time in deep, I was going to say deep doo-doo, but I wasn't in trouble. I was just in deep spaces with my own journey, remembering things and processing. And there were a lot of tears. And I feel no shame telling you that, but I know for some people that'll be big to hear. And sometimes they'll come and talk to me and say, are you okay? I heard the episode and you sounded so upset. And I just know I'm talking to somebody who's not walked that particular bridge just yet. You know what I mean? So even that is fine. It's all okay. It's like, that's why it's hard to slow down. That's why peace is so difficult. A friend asked me this week, why is joy and peace such a scary prospect? It's hard. It's only hard to slow down if we haven't addressed these things that we're pressing on. I don't know if we're running from them. I mean, I know our hearts, and we are the most sincere in our truest selves. We're so sincere about doing this work. Showing up as our truest selves and really going there. And so I don't even mind that we struggle. I want to know that we're willing and committed in the deepest part of our hearts, that we remember that occasionally and we choose the different thing. It takes courage to show up and love yourself instead of continuing on in the story, and to look at you with such a sweet commitment. Sometimes you'll tell me in session, would you be willing to love this part of yourself? Absolutely not. I can't love myself here. No way. That's your work. To look upon yourself with such kindness and love. You don't have to take it personally. That's a choice. The way you would love a baby or your cat is what I'm talking about. Like how I equate the two things, because yes, I'm well diverse in furry animal parenting. So look at the story and don't just continue the story. Other people were so hard on us, mean to us, taught us things about ourselves. It's just so unfair, it's unkind, it's not right, but it happened. The only choice before us now is to stop using that as the reason we can't make progress. Stop using that as the excuse to keep your life waiting. Because we're not sitting with our own fear about making moves that we might not be ready to handle. You have to be willing to handle it. You know, God, if you're a long-time listener here, and if you are, thank you. Thank you. You know how much I talk about this podcast as being one of the biggest vehicles I do my healing work through, you know? My personal journey. It's like I could say it every week that I've turned another huge corner, but I really have this time. I swear I did. Where I just I feel like I have accepted and committed to this in a deeper way because I'm able to receive my awesome sauce. I still laugh, but I'm able to see it. I have worked really hard to be where I am, and if I don't accept that, you can't even, what am I saying about the progress you've made because we walked together? You know what I mean? So I just feel this deep, deep commitment, and I want you to want that too. I do. So courage. Courage to do this. And it doesn't have to be hard. Remember that, okay, please? Because I don't know why people make it so freaking hard, But it doesn't have to be hard. It all comes back to fear. That's at the bottom of all of our stories is fear. So I hope something in here somewhere sticks to you in the best way. Not like bubble gum in your hair. But get free. And, always, if I can help you, sessions with me, in my experience, they're life-changing. And I'm interested in you getting to where you want to be. That's for sure. So there's links to that in the bottom of this, in the show notes, or you can, anything I talked about today, you can go to episode, robinhallett.com/124. And for anyone, this might be, I just thought of one more thing. This might be helpful for how I help myself through that with the podcast, because I can have a lot of worries about this, all the content, all the amazing stuff. And, you know how it is. If you've ever had a creative project of any kind, writing a database, making a 12-layer cake, painting your masterpiece, building a deck, planting a garden, you know what I'm talking about. These scary next pieces come to your mind and you can get overwhelmed and stop or procrastinate. It's like we focus on the one hard thing and it's done. So I tell myself, all I know is I love it so much and it's helping and I love doing it. And that's what matters most. And everything I need comes to me as I need it, in the perfect amounts needed. At the right time. All is well in my world. Boy, rewind that with your issue and say that prayer for yourself. You know, I think a lot about alternate routes, and I accept deeply that that's my way. Alternate routes, like, you know how you have that one, the taskmaster, and you has that, there, it can only go this way. No, there's multiple ways to get there. Alternate routes. Okay, so cheers. I love this one already. So good. So inspiration today, I thought I would just share some fun things, some Robbie loves lately in my free time. I'm watching a beautiful show on Hulu, also available on Discovery and Amazon Prime, called The Last Alaskans. It is a documentary series. Several families who are living in the Alaskan National Wildlife Refuge, and there are 7 permits left in that whole place. The show starts out every way the same. They tell you in 1980, Alaska made a decision that they wouldn't extend any more permits. And so whoever held one at that time received a permission to live there, and as well as for all of their children. But when the last child makes it across the Rainbow Bridge, that permit is done. So it's amazing. So these people are living out, and I am not embarrassed to say I am now in season 4. There are 4 seasons. But I have to tell you, I feel like it was one of those divine things that came to me in that time where I was really processing a lot of grieving around my family, observing these families and the perspectives, the gratitude, how many times they say they love living there, and you feel it. It's not even about living there. The feeling is you're in the presence, energetically speaking, of somebody who has claimed who they are, how they serve, what they are. Somebody who's faced that wobble where things felt difficult, and they could stand in their power and handle it, stand in their joy and handle it. People who probably did go stir crazy with all that joy and peace and quiet and freezing cold and lack of connection to the outside world. They had to go through that. They had to show up and face it. And they did. So you're in the presence of listening to that, receiving that. Powerful teachers, if you ask me. Yeah. The perfect things come at the right time if you're open. And if you make space to receive, it's really powerful. So I can't say enough good things about that. Of course, it won't appeal to everyone. I get it. The other thing is, I'm almost done with this book, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers by Annie Kagan. Such a great read. So sweet. I'm in the last chapter. I would say if you have read Anita Moorjani's book, Dying to Be Me, it's kind of along those lines. It's a bit deeper into the afterlife experience than people might be comfortable to learn about if you're not prepared. It's true. It's an alternate route to what a lot of people think the afterlife is about, like if you've been invested in the idea of heaven per se. And so I just put that warning there. But loving reading the book. Love the feeling of how you're going through your day and then you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to read that book, I can't wait to see what happens. So, and fun because there are a lot of messages in there that you can look up, you can Google and learn for yourself and things. It's really fun. So, love that one. And the other thing I've been doing is crocheting and hanging pictures. I know several of you said you loved the inspiration when I talk about decorating your space last week. Even the outside of your home, making it special. Permission for it to be special. So I hope that helps some of you today. I hope you liked hearing a few of my little fun things. And always, when I share these posts online, if you are online, I love to hear what you liked about the episode. If you have a little story to share, I love to hear from you. And when I say that, I mean on the post I share. I'd love hearing from you in messages too, but if you want to help the podcast out, help the show out, it has to be a public comment. You have to press the like button on the post for it to support getting the word out. And since this is the part of the show where I ask you to support the podcast, that's one way. Leave a comment on a post. I post to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Let me know if you liked it. And thank you for that. And, if something I said in today's message is helpful for you, especially if you think of a friend, you're probably being guided to share. So I would appreciate it if you made that introduction. We talked about abundance last week. Abundance multiplies for you when you share it with others. So when you share the good word, when you share the good news, when you're generous, it increases for you what you're willing to give away. And so share this on. That love boomerangs back to you in powerful ways. It multiplies. Share this with a friend, or if you are on social media, you can always make a post. I appreciate it so much. Most of all, I care about that light reaching friends who need it, who want it. There are days where it's so clear to me that that's my function. This comes out of I almost said the Lord of the Rings. We might as well just say the Lord of the Rings out of the Course in Miracles. Oh, that is hilarious. I don't think I've ever said that. It comes right out of the Lord of the Rings. Oh my God. Now, which movie was it? 1, 2, or 3? And which character said it? It's probably Galadriel or Gandalf. But, oh my God. That was so good. Okay, so I was saying my only function, the Course in Miracles, my only function is the one God gave me. This comes from Lesson 65. If you have my Course in Miracles workbook course, you can listen to this with me, listen to me read this and talk about it. But the thing I love is, and you can change the words. My only function is to honor the true self in me is fine. Don't worry about it. But I love how in this lesson it teaches that it's the ridic self, the ego, that kooky storyteller that makes life so hard on us, that tells those stories of all those other goals we're supposed to have for ourselves. And, if you're listening long enough, hard enough, you will hear how one goal cancels the other one out. It's like a never-ending loop of going nowhere if you listen to your ego. So my only function is the one God gave me. This is what I'm here to do, is to share the light, shine the light, live the light, love the light. So, yeah. Thank you in all the ways you help, and please continue. I appreciate it so much. Cheers. And thank you to those of you who sent birthday gifts and cards and wishes and messages. I wanted to say Thank you so much. I am super touched and super appreciating the opportunity to receive. It's bigger than we know. To receive your abundance, to receive the reflection of who you truly are. And I wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Cheers. Oh my gosh, did I even tell you what I did on my birthday? I feel like all I did was tell you I cried. I had a hard time. Oh no, it was a beautiful day. Number one husband surprised me with coffee in bed, and our kids came to the door and surprised me with donut candles in it. I can't quite ever remember a time when I had to be handed my pandemic donut outside on a 30-degree winter day, and your kids can't even come in your house. It was beautiful. And then, let's see, Jeff and I went to the Morton Arboretum here in the Chicago area. Beautiful day, sunny, sunny, sunny. I packed us a thermos of tea and we walked all around in the pine trees, and there is nothing quite like a day in the fresh air with the sun shining and the smell of pine sap in the air. It is intoxicating to me. I have always been this way too. I don't know where it came from. I grew up in California, and I remember loving pine trees there too. And it's anyway. So for me, that was really a romantic and sweet, thoughtful birthday gift, and I felt super loved and seen and held in my family, my close friends. It just felt so wonderful. I did all that releasing, and then there was nothing left but to receive in joy. And, sometimes people need problems, need upset, need grieving, grievances, need irritations because they're so afraid of the peace. And when you're deciding you're going to let go of the sad stories and the angry, let go, it changes things. It changes things. So that was really my experience. This might have been one of my favorite birthdays because I feel so here. Okay, so super self-indulgent feeling. Let us turn to a beautiful letter. Today's letter, actually, it's a message I got from Julie on Instagram, who was following up to episode 118. And she asked me if I would talk about spiritual relationships on the spiritual journey, like friendships, and how you deal with stuff that comes up, and just to talk a little bit more about the topic of friendship on the journey. And I thought that would be a good one for us to get into today. So let's get into it. And thank you, Julie. Here we go. There's nothing to read. I just told you the gist of the message. So, friends on the journey, people on the path who are awake and practicing, it's a different situation entirely. There can be a lot of beautiful growth that comes because you are able to have a dialogue with each other, or at least acknowledge certain aspects of the journey that people who aren't, aren't in the same state of awakening, or I'm trying to think of a nice way to say that, because I'm really not wanting to judge. I feel like we're here to see the light in everybody. That's the work. And not everybody is here doing the awakening journey. And I want to say, I feel deeply, it's my truth, that I'm not more valuable here in the world. You're not more valuable here in the world because you're awake. Just because you know things on the journey. You know, everybody has a part to play. Everybody has a contribution to make, to serve. I know how I serve, from Paul Selig. And how I serve is I am a spark of the divine, actually, whether I know I am one or not. And I am being my unique self, expressing my individual self as Robin, but I'm the light flowing through Robin. That's my true self. And so how I serve is by being myself. And so that's the first thing. If I say somebody who's not on the awakening journey, I'm not judging that as less important or less knowledgeable or less smart and I'll say, for the record, I probably thought that was the case a long time ago, though. Or maybe recently, I don't know. I don't feel that way anymore, that there's some kind of hierarchy in terms of goodness. No, there are amazing people everywhere. So all of us are. We're all magnificent. It takes my breath away. Yeah. So, but the friends on the journey where you have a lingo, you study things together, Course in Miracles, Abraham Hicks, Caroline Myss, Barbara Brennan. I'm just going down the list in my mind of people I've studied, taken courses with. You Can Heal Your Life. What was the yearly event that Hay House would have? I would go there with friends and meet friends and sometimes take clients to events back in the day, the pre-COVID day. And so it's a beautiful thing to have friends to share in that journey. And for some reason, interestingly, you still come together and you have to do your work. There is no magical unicorn friendship where it's so freaking beautiful that you are healed and there's never a problem. I think that's one myth that goes around. You know, if we're spiritual friends, we'll never have a problem again. That can be true, but you got to do your work, and you will do your work. And these are the relationships that will be the most productive because you both have skin in the game, and you know you do, and you want to learn, and you want to do it because you want to have that specialness. It's funny how, and I wonder, you've probably had this happen, you can meet people on this journey there is a love and a comfort and a familiarity there. And that's usually, to me, the sign that we've been together other lifetimes, or perhaps we have as Caroline Myss would say, a sacred contract to fulfill. There's something connecting us. And it's really important because that doesn't mean it's going to be hunky-dory, Wonder Town, buy me a unicorn and let's ride it into the sunset together. It works both ways. It can become a terribly codependent place where you repeat all your old stuff together, a constant push-pull, but it can be such a wonderful place to unfurl and let yourself be who you truly are. And that feeling is worth everything to me. I feel so blessed to have that with my husband and a few close friends. The comfort level that's there is amazing. And I'll say with girlfriends, it doesn't always mean you're together all the time. There are people I feel this way about I don't talk to daily, weekly, not even monthly, the odd occasional text. But I think that's the way it goes. It's like we're here doing our journey. We're here walking our walk. And it doesn't always mean we're on the phone jibber-jabbing all the time. We're doing our work and we're supporting each other silently wordlessly, energetically. I know who you are in truth, my friend. I know what you are in truth, my friend. I know how you serve in truth, my friend. It's beautiful. So we can help each other. We can remember ourselves to each other, and the other can help us to remember ourselves as well. Did I just say the same thing twice? I think you know what I'm saying. But, also you're going to have those situations where you are learning how to risk your significance with a heart that loves you. And for many of us, that is the most terrifying prospect we've ever heard of. Somebody who loves me, somebody who has my back, somebody who sees the good in me, somebody who thinks I walk on water, that I'm a genius, that I'm beautiful, that I'm, you know what I mean? It can be more than you ever knew. Beautiful and wonderful, but also like, sometimes for me, it's like climbing Mount Everest, opening my heart and trusting. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think at times I get curious about people who continue to bitch about their friend. And there's a lot of us out there. I'm not going to name any names, so you're safe. But, I wonder if we need to do that. Stay locked in a pattern about people in general or with specific people because we're terrified of having to climb the Mount Everest of receiving. How sweet it is. How sweet it is. So even if it's good, there will still be breakdowns. You're going to have irritations. You're going to have things where they continue a cycle that you've been trying to break. We draw people in because that's the miracle at work, These painful situations are a call for love, and the source of love itself will always bring what you need into your life because you are love, and you need to remember that, not because you're being punished or cursed or you just have the worst luck in the world. So, long time ago, a friend of mine told me, Robin, don't hide your joy at your good relationships with your husband and the way you have with your friends. Don't hide that from the world because you feel afraid to hurt upset them and make them feel sad. And it's still, I'm feeling that hesitancy even now, but it's something that is really hard won. This feeling of you work at something, it means you are willing to go through a lot of heavy stuff, being triggered and texting each other about it, being annoyed about stuff and telling the other person, risking your heart, risking your fear, telling the truth. Sometimes you have more honesty than you feel comfortable having with your spouse or your siblings or your parents, That can be what a spiritual friend is, but not everybody has that yet. And there is a lot of sadness and longing to, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you're single, if you'd like to be in a relationship, like a romantic relationship, or just build some deeper friendships, this can be a particularly painful point. But this is why, like what I was talking about in the essay today, we have to dig deeper into our own stories and really get to the heart of why don't I want to give up this juice, this feeling sorry for myself story and feeling sad and lonely. Sad and lonely, sad and lonely. I think of the David Lee Roth song. Why we don't want to give that up in favor of getting excited for what's to come. It's a practice for sure. So I see patterns where, and I'm not immune, I have done this too. I'm thinking of several people where this has been my dynamic as well. But like, instead of letting them in, you keep them close, but you complain about them nonstop. It's like, it's just dumb. But we don't know that until we know that, So you have to go through these things to learn them. I didn't call you dumb. I'm saying when you pair up how much we long to be connected, how much we long to have somebody we feel that love for, and we want to be together with them and share things, and then you realize how long you've been like complaining about that person and keeping that wall up because they don't do the one thing the right way, or they don't say it the right way, or yeah, I was going to say, or they continue to forget your birthday. It's your birthday, which really, like, did I tell you what a beautiful birthday it was? That's because I have changed. I have made the change. I have made the change. I have given up my sad story, So think about what you want. Those of you yearning, longing, think about what you want. Those of you in the friendships that are kind of codependent and nagging, you have a decision to make there. I recently walked away. I talked about this a lot through the summer in morning magic sessions, and all the replays are up on IGTV and on YouTube. So you have access to all of this content I'm talking about here. But I went through a very long process, breaking up with a friend over the summer. It was excruciatingly difficult because that was my pattern, the codependent pattern. And through all the ways you get the signs that it's not going to change, that you're not honoring where the other person is at on the journey because they don't want to change, or they're not changing. It's so hard, words, right? It's so hard to say it how I'm feeling it, but who am I to say this person has to stop being cuckoo bird? They are free. They are free to not change. So if I'm the one with the problem, I'm the one with the decision. Hello, who is this woman and what did you do with Robin? Sometimes I'm feeling that way the last few months, I tell you. It's beautiful though. So, wherever you're at with spiritual friendships, it's such a blessing if you have a few people walking with you who get it. It doesn't always mean you talk like besties, jibber jabber every single day, and sometimes it might. I hear so many good stories, the ones about the one friend who's sending 49 WhatsApp videos a week to the other person, messages to the other person who's just like, can you tell me how to tell them to stop messaging me 49 times, It's just so many things. But I'll say, bottom line is usually you will find the irritation, the original sand to your pearl, somewhere in your own history, for sure. And those of you longing to build on something new, it's great. Continue to get excited about what you want, what you're looking for, and stay excited. And that means, when you meet somebody and it's not quite right, you don't stick around just because you're lonely and you don't know what else, if anything else good will come along. I hear this a lot too. Set people free, let them be on their way, and trust in your goodness and your ability to call things in, So, and what else? Old friends, old friends you haven't talked to 20 years. I have a few friends like that where, things just kind of fell apart, but we still are in a love affair of the heart. I haven't rhymed anything in a while. We are. We just don't talk anymore. Keep it that way. Any bitterness you can release, any remembrance. Oh, I have to remember that person as somebody who is dangerous or difficult or a gossip or mean, that's a long time to hold on to stories that are they probably never were true, is what I meant to say. So I hope something in there feels helpful to you. All I know is for sure we are meant to be here in our joy and our peace and connecting with friends that bring the same, or alone enjoying the same. But I think the bottom line for today is those grievances we have, those upsets, those stories, we are the common denominator, and we can look. And with honesty comes a lot, because I tell you what, there are plenty of times I have looked and said, I'm not ready. I'm not there yet. And that's a beautiful thing to know. So if that's how any of this was feeling for you today, it's a beautiful thing for you to know. So may that serve you. And if you got any more follow-ups to my follow-up, write me. hello@robinhallett.com, or reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. All links are in the show notes. Well, I say that wraps episode 124. It is in the can almost as soon as I finish a few little doodads here. And, well, it's Sunday afternoon as I finish this up. Super Bowl, pre-Super Bowl. I won't pretend to be a sports fan, but I still love the spectacle. Number one and I, we like to watch the commercials and just talk about things, but I couldn't tell you anything about football, or I still don't know who's playing other than Tom Brady, because, somebody on CBS Sunday morning said he was old. Tom Brady is 43. That stuff cracks me up. Well, anyway, that's what I'm going to go do. You are loved. Thank you for being here, and I'm going to see you next week or in a few minutes if you like to binge listen. This has been me, Robin. I am 52. Hallett. So much love. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Life is very short. Let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it. Rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it. And mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly. 'Cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss. Thanks.